I'm 36, male, and I work in corporate security. You know, the kind of guy who handles risk assessments, surveillance, and fraud investigations for big companies. I've always been meticulous, probably to a fault. I believe in evidence and proof. If you tell me something, I'll trust you, but if you lie, I'll find out. My wife, 34, and I have been married for 8 years. I thought we had a good marriage. Nothing spectacular, but solid. We weren't perfect, but we communicated, or at least I thought we did. She worked in marketing and traveled a bit, while I had my share of business trips too. We were a normal couple, or so I believed. A few months ago, I had to fly out for a 3-day conference across the country. No big deal, I had done this plenty of times before. But this time, I had a nagging feeling like something was off. She had been acting strange, more attached at times, distant at others. Her phone was suddenly always on silent, and she was extra careful with it. Now, I don't go through my wife's phone. I don't believe in invading privacy without cause. But what I do believe in is precaution. See, we live in a fairly large house with a solid security system, cameras covering all entry points and a few inside common areas. I installed them for safety reasons, never really expecting to need them for anything else. So before leaving, I did something I had never done before. I set the cameras to send me real-time alerts. Just a precaution, I told myself. After all, we live in a world where break-ins happen. I had no idea that what I was about to uncover would be much worse than a burglary. The first day of my trip was uneventful. I attended meetings, grabbed dinner, and went back to my hotel. The second day? That's when everything went to hell. At around 8:30 p.m., I got an alert on my phone. Motion detected in the living room. I frowned. She wasn't supposed to be home at that time. She told me she was going out with her friends. Maybe she came back early? I opened the app and checked the live feed. And there he was, her ex, sitting on my couch, drinking my whiskey, laughing with my wife. I felt my entire body go cold. My hands shook as I watched her sit beside him, way too close. The way she leaned in, the way she touched his arm, it was all there, clear as day. I should have turned it off. I should have spared myself the pain. But I didn't. I kept watching. And then she kissed him. That's when I knew. It wasn't just a friendly visit. It wasn't innocent. It was betrayal. But here's the thing. I didn't react. Not immediately. My brain went into analysis mode. If this had been someone else's case, I'd tell them to gather proof, to stay calm, to act strategically. So, that's exactly what I did. I screen recorded everything. Every kiss. Every touch. Every damning second of their little rendezvous. I saved the footage in multiple locations, my phone, my laptop, my cloud storage. I even emailed a copy to myself just in case. By the time they went upstairs, to my bedroom, I had all the evidence I needed. I sat in my hotel room, staring at my phone, feeling a strange sense of calm wash over me. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to destroy them. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't rage or break anything. I just planned. By morning, I had a full course of action laid out. This wasn't just about catching her in the act. This was about ensuring she didn't get a damn thing in the divorce. No sympathy, no advantage, nothing. First, I called my lawyer. He was a no-nonsense guy, and when I told him what happened, his response was simple. Send me everything. We're going to bury her. See, in my state, infidelity can impact divorce proceedings, especially when it comes to asset division and spousal support. But what really mattered was leverage. And I had all of it. I filed for divorce that very day. Not next week, not next month, that day. I made sure the petition listed adultery as the reason, attaching the video evidence as an exhibit. Then I made another call to a locksmith. I told him I needed all the locks in my house changed by the time I landed. I wasn't going to let her waltz back in like nothing happened. But I wasn't done. I wanted her to feel the consequences of her choices before she even knew she had been caught. So, I called our bank and separated our finances. Every joint account, I transferred my share into my personal account. Every credit card with my name on it, canceled. Then came the real kicker. I called her boss. See, the company she worked for had a strict morality clause, especially for employees who represented the brand at events. And guess what? My wife had introduced her ex as her husband at a recent work function, an event I was supposed to attend but skipped because of my trip. I sent her boss an anonymous tip, along with photo evidence from social media of her and her ex at that event. By the time my flight home landed, everything was already in motion. When I walked into my house, I felt nothing but control. She hadn't come home yet, probably staying over at his place, thinking she could sneak back before I returned. Except when she arrived the next morning, she couldn't get in. I watched from the security feed as she struggled with the lock, cursing under her breath. Then she called me. I let it ring. A minute later, I got a text. Wife, hey babe, something's wrong with my key. Can you unlock the door? I smiled. Then I texted back. Me, you don't live here anymore. I watched the dots appear, then disappear. Then, wife, what are you talking about? I just got home. Me no. You got caught. Attached. A still image from the security footage of her and her ex on my couch. The call came immediately. I answered. Wait, just wait. I can explain. No, you can't. My voice was ice. We're done. I've already filed. You'll be served soon. And in case you're thinking of playing dirty, don't. I have everything. Her voice wavered. You filed? Already? Yes. And you should check your work email. That's when she really panicked. What did you do? I hung up. Then I sat back and watched the show. She banged on the door. She screamed. She sobbed. Then she left. 2 hours later, I got a furious call from her mother. How dare you throw my daughter out like that? She made a mistake. You need to forgive her. I let her rant before cutting in. Did she tell you she cheated? With her ex? In our home? Silence. Then a muttered. Well, relationships are complicated. I hung up. By the end of the week, she was served. By the end of the month, she had no job, no home, and no access to my money. And her ex? Turned out he had no interest in committing to her. Once he realized she was no longer living off my income, he bailed. Couldn't have planned it better myself. I wish I could say she disappeared quietly, but entitled people don't go down without a fight. First, she tried to guilt me. She sent long-winded texts about how we had built a life together and how I shouldn't just throw it all away over one mistake. She cried about how she had nowhere to go and how it was cruel to leave her homeless. I ignored every single one. Then she switched tactics, anger. She tried to turn mutual friends against me, telling them I was overreacting and punishing her for something that wasn't even that serious. She even had the nerve to say I had been a bad husband for traveling so much, practically forcing her into another man's arms. That one made me laugh. But when neither guilt nor anger worked, she pulled her dirtiest trick yet. She faked a pregnancy. She texted me late one night, saying we needed to talk, that she had just found out she was pregnant, and that this changed everything. I almost believed her. Almost. But something didn't add up. So, instead of responding, I called my lawyer. By this point, he already knew my ex-wife was manipulative. He advised me to request a paternity test before agreeing to anything. So, that's exactly what I did. And just like that, her fake pregnancy vanished. She tried to backtrack, claiming she had a miscarriage. I didn't buy it. I had seen this move before, desperate people grasping at desperate straws. Once she realized she had no leverage, she finally gave up. The divorce settlement. Because I had overwhelming proof of her infidelity, and because she had no job, no stable income, and had violated our prenuptial agreement, she walked away with nothing. No alimony, no house, no assets. I kept everything. The best part? The judge didn't take kindly to her antics. In addition to denying her any financial support, he ordered her to pay a portion of my legal fees. She was furious. She screamed in court, saying it was unfair and that I was destroying her life. No, sweetheart, you did that all by yourself. The final nail in the coffin. A few months after the divorce was finalized, I got one last bit of poetic justice. Her ex, the one she threw our marriage away for, he moved on. Fast. I found out through mutual acquaintances that after realizing she was broke and jobless, he ghosted her. No calls. No texts. Just gone. She ended up moving back in with her parents. Last I heard, she was working a low-paying retail job, struggling to make ends meet. Meanwhile, I thrived. I moved forward with my life, got back into dating, focused on myself, and most importantly, I kept my peace. I don't regret a damn thing. She played a stupid game, and she won a stupid prize. Moral of the story? Don't cheat on someone who does corporate security for a living. And if you enjoyed this revenge-filled saga, hit that subscribe button. Because trust me, there's plenty more where this came from.